What's up, team? It's your boy Filbert coming at you live with a strategic overview of Cash, how we want to play Cash, and what we need to do to improve on Cash. These are very general things, and once you have an understanding of these things, we will be better teammates for each other, and we will play a better Cash. So I'll go over a generalized overview of Cash, and that generalized overview is going to talk about basic concepts in Cash and basic individual things. This is really important that you pay attention to that. Then we're going to talk about T side, which is going to be broken down into two parts: a T default with mid control, and a T default into execute without mid control. After going over T side, we're going to go over CT side strats that we're doing, like A main push, B push, and different setups for CT, and like what the goal of each setup is, so that when we play the game, you know, we're going to gravitate towards the goal with individual decisions. So and a good example of that is, let's say we do a T side default into a full execute. You know that the goal is to execute, let's say, A. So after a good amount of time passes, the Josh who's holding useless might go to A, right? So like stuff like that, you know. And for CTs, if we are playing like 3 people mid, the A and B players know that their goal is to get deep information, but do it in a way where they can stay alive, or just stay alive. Because if they can't do that, staying alive is way better, you know? Because you don't want to die getting deep information. Stuff like that. Very basic things, and it's gonna be a good video, guys. So try to pay attention, and let's go. So CT, I drew a CT line and a T line. CT line is blue, T line is orange. Both lines are what I like to call line of scrimmage, which means the line where you're fighting the enemy, and behind this line is where you're probably going to be positioned at the beginning of each round, or behind this line is where you can safely position at the beginning of each round without high risk. The closer you get to the opposing side's line of scrimmage, the higher chance you're going to die. So if a T comes out A main, hits A site, he's probably fucking dead. But if a T stays inside A main, well, he has a high chance of surviving, unless the CTs break their line of scrimmage default and do something different. While playing at the beginning of each round, you really want to first hold your line of scrimmage and not let the enemy break it. If you're the more the enemy disrupts your line of scrimmage, the harder it is for you to defend on CT, and the harder it is for you to get to a bomb site on T. And let's come with a generalized and very often way that the CTs break the T line of scrimmage, right? A main push or A main pop flash. Let's say the T default sends 2 people A main, as been observed, or we just know it, or we want to get the info if they send people into A main default. We wait a bit in the beginning in the round. We CTs flash into the T side, break this line of scrimmage, and take control of this, and then like take control of this area. So the new line of scrimmage is going to be like this. Actually, this is like that. Oops. So, oops, I messed it up. I accidentally drew the T line, so let's do it again. Might be. Okay. There we go. Okay, so in this situation, the T line of scrimmage is probably broken. So because there's probably a guy holding door, so let's assume that. So let's say there's a guy, so the T line of scrimmage is around here now. and they kind of fall back. Like, you can't really hold A main. You either have to be very committed up close, which increases risk, or you are probably going to be playing like something like this. Yeah, something like this. So this is a new line of scrimmage. In this situation, because of how close this line of scrimmage is to the T side, the more information you're going to get on based on noise, and because of that, you have a higher chance of winning the round. And just because you have this control, and let's say you are able to maintain the other lines of scrimmages, you can adjust, and you can really have a high, like, you can just fucking fuck the T's up. So let's show you another example of the line of scrimmage changing, and let's show a line of scrimmage where the CTs push middle. So let's draw the lines. Whoops. So let's say we do some type of aggressive mid type of thing. Line of scrimmage is going to look like that. And just because of how advanced this line of scrimmage is to the T side, the same thing's going to happen. There's going to be a entire area where you're gonna hear like what all the T is doing. You're gonna hear useless for sure. You're gonna hear mid main. You're gonna hear A main. You know when they're kind of running out or jumping around boost or A main, or jumping peeking A main. Like, you just know so much more information, and as long as you're taking the right peaks, you're gonna win. So something that I made a mistake. So before, you know how I drew those two line of scrimmages? They were like something like this. I'm gonna draw it quickly. Right, something like this with vent control, and the T's do something like this, right? So based on these line of scrimmages, you need to hold your line. Like, you can't just let the CTs walk all over you and like break this line. If the CTs are able to just nonchalantly push their line of scrimmage into your default and like get picks on you or kills on you, that's a big fucking problem. And like, the only way you can solve this problem is to be better individually, or have more, just hold it better by yourself. Like, this is just an individual thing, and if they're better than you at that, you can't play your strategy. Like, if both teams hold their line of scrimmages, there's gonna be strategy involved. If you cannot hold your line of scrimmages, there's no fucking strategy, because like, you're just all fucking dead, and then you just have to wing it. There's no like overarching, we're gonna hold default on T side, then we're gonna go to take mid control, because how are you gonna do that if the CTs just break your line of scrimmage and then you just get fucked, you know? So very important that like on T side that you realize this, and that's why it's very bad to die on default, and that's why it's also very, very bad on T side to just be doing some ballsy peek, though you should definitely still do ballsy peeks, right? So let's give an example. T side line of scrimmage, we're gonna draw it in a better way again, in a clean way, so it's better to look at. A very basic aggressive thing that T's can do on rounds that they know CTs do not have ops is to peek from the sunroom line of scrimmage and try to get a pick on checkers. This is risky, but it needs to be done. Like, every part of the line of scrimmage, there needs to be some type of aggression during some point in the default at the beginning of their buy rounds. Now, like, I know this sounds like complicated, but basically what I'm saying is, let's say you have 5 buy rounds, or let's say you have 6 buy rounds. During the first 3 to 4 buy rounds, you don't have to do, the whole team doesn't have to do it every part of the map. You want that to happen, but if you think you have an opportunity, they don't have an op, they did some information on the other part of the map, you want to be aggressive on your line of scrimmage. You're basically taking a risk, a calculated risk that you can peek your line of scrimmage and fuck with the other side's line of scrimmage. So let's say you peek A main and you kill like the guy fence. Well, now there's a broken part in their line of scrimmage on like their fence. This is all fucked up because you just peeked them, and now they're on a worse A hold, and like holding from holding a site as CT is a lot worse than just having like a crossfire with fork and sight, and like and having ability to like really like it's just so much fucking better when you get a kill. Let's say you get a kill on checkers. Now the fucking guy, there's only at most one person B right now, that if they were caught out of position, the guy who was helping B was holding heaven. Let's say you had mid pressure and then you peeked your line of scrimmage, you got to kill checkers. This guy's really out of position because he just rotated from middle and he thinks that the team's going mid, and you just get this kill on checkers. B's completely open, but you don't. But you see what I mean, right? This guy is forced to fucking do that, and then to jump onto site, right? Like drop from heaven, go to site, and like let's say we were, while picking this line of scrimmage, we had like 3 people inside B main, then we can just immediately turn this into a rush and immediately take site, right? Like this guy might have been just dropping and we might have just got in sight for free. Like someone like maybe Josh peeked checkers, got us to kill, or Elijah peeked checkers with an op, got us to kill. Right, he broke the line of scrimmage, and then we were immediately poised to rush that part of the site. We go in, immediately execute as fast as possible. The rotation is slow. Both people, the guy died. The guy mid is rotating. The guys A are still holding just in case. Right, maybe one guy's positioned closer to truck. Maybe one guy's on highway now. But as you can see, we can take B site. We have a huge opportunity because we broke their line of scrimmage. They have to reset their line of scrimmage, and like. Yeah. So that's why when we default, it's extremely important that we take aggressive peeks, calculated, right? And then we peek regularly for info. So let's see, T side line of scrimmage, we hold like this, right? We're holding like this part of A main, like this. You're gonna probably be here. If it's smoked off, you can have that. Let's go. Drawing it again. Your T side line of scrimmage. You want to hold. You need to hold this. If you don't hold this, there's no strategy. So just remember that. Like if we go into a match and like we can't hold the line of scrimmage, I don't have many options as the IGL to call a strat because most strats rely on holding this line of scrimmage and rely on CTs playing in a predictable way. If the CTs have freedom to go if the CTs feel so confident, or feels like if CTs are winning every fight and they feel confident, as the IGL, I can't predict what the CTs are going to do. I can't think of a strategy that's going to really work for us except rushing something. But then that doesn't work because let's say I'd send 5. I say let's just go A immediately because our line of scrimmage keeps breaking. Well, here's the problem. We go A and we want to execute. The CTs feel like they can break our line of scrimmage anytime. So they kind of fuck you up. They go here, they go here. By the time this smoke dissipates and you really want to execute, you're fucked. So there's no, like you're all stuck on this part of the map and you're just getting fucking cornered from like every direction. There's no hope. And like that's why when we were losing our line of scrimmage, the only strat I really called consistently was to throw smokes middle, like throw smokes on T side middle, smoke this part, immediately send like 3 people B main, immediately get ready to peek checkers, immediately 2 people who threw the smokes, 1 person throws the flashbang, runs out middle, clears immediately for this line of here. So there's a temporary line of scrimmage right here, breaks vents and wraps into checkers. So it's gonna look like this, right? And we immediately go B. During this time, the CTs might push A main, they might push Squeaky, disrespecting us because we can't hold our line of scrimmage. But right now we have a very probable kill in checkers, right? Very good for us. And worst case situation, 2 people B, we fight the 2 people B and we can win. And all the rotations for the CTs for B are really bad. Like the CT either has to rotate vents, we should have advantage because the guy has to drop, and the CT can flank, but this distance is very, very long. Like the A main flank, very long distance transverse. Same thing with Squeaky, right? So that's why I call the strat I call this strat specifically when our line of scrimmage starts breaking apart. But if you really think about it, like, there are not many other strats. The only other way you can really do it is to hold like 5 people stacked B-side the map, like create a really bad line of scrimmage. You hope that you can hold this type of line of scrimmage, like you're holding one guy truck to hold this and this. You're committed to going B this round, and you hope to God that a CT does something stupid and pushes out here, and then you hope that like because your line of scrimmage is shorter and because it's shorter, there's more people holding the same line. Then like if this guy's in a 1v3 situation, you get this kill and you rush B, and like you just hope to God that like the CTs haven't pushed into A main and like leave a guy lockers, and then like just rotate the rest of their CT players to like mid, and like they stack the shit out of B. You just hope to God that like this is not the situation, and you hope that like this guy, because he pushed, he's like there's no people in B site. So in the matches that, yeah, so our generalized overview, I just went over the first part of this video, and like I tried to explain the line of scrimmages and like why it's really important to hold your line. I mainly covered T side and like line of scrimmage, and how if the CTs break the T line of scrimmage, the T's have less options, the T's have less strategies, and the T's just get destroyed. And the same thing applies for CT side, and I'll go over it a little more later on in the video when I go over CT side. Line of scrimmages when you're not taking aggressive peeks. So this is the last part of this this generalized overview where we talk about line of scrimmages, is that when the CTs are playing for their line of scrimmage, and the T's are playing their line of scrimmage, right? And the times that you are not aggressively peeking, so in those times you're not aggressively peeking, you need to peek for info for like, number one, if you're sitting here and you're holding line of scrimmage, or you're sitting here, you need to make sure that the CTs don't push this, right? Like you're peeking for info at least. And like sometimes, like if you're on boost, you're not really committed to going off boost as a T and just like rushing into mid. You can just peek for info, and with that info that you call out to your IGL or to your team in general, your teammates can make better decisions. So like let's say you tell me that like there's 2 people mid or 3 people mid, right? Then that means if we can cross smoke mid and like take control of this close mid T side, go vents and go B, as long as we have presence mid, the rotation for CTs is going to be off, and we have a 10-20 second window to execute into site, get in, and plant the bomb. And like let's say we know that there is 3 people mid for sure. Let's say Elijah was boosted at the beginning of the round, and he peeks mid. He sees like 3 people, takes a shot. It's like, guys, I can't fucking hold this. I'm leaving, right? Josh, might be in B main, or Reese, who might be A, or Zach, who might be here on A, might think like, okay, enemy is on a force buy type of round, and we saw 3 people mid. Elijah called out 3 mid. They're on a force buy. They're likely they don't have an op. We're going to take a calculated risk. Josh is peeking checkers, and it's going to take this AK pistol fight. Reese might take the fence A main fight and try to win it, right? If he wins these fights, we're in a better situation. A T might die. Line of scrimmage kind of breaks, and the length of the amount of CTs are like 4v5, so the line of scrimmage is weaker in general, and we have a higher chance of winning, like all these type of stuff. Now so that's the first part. Now we're going to talk about the T side default and its job. So what we're gonna do in our default is that Zach is gonna go into door around here. He holds this. Zach's job is to hold this line of scrimmage. Zach can give up this line of scrimmage. Like, he can decide to not play this. You can just say, I'm playing. On default, Zach has to hold this. If I'm saying, like, let's do a B execute, let's say our line of scrimmage is successful and we have trouble translating defaults into wins, we might do a full B execute or full A execute. And if we're doing a full B execute, Zach might decide, hey, like, since we're doing a full B execute, I'm gonna play back. Like, Zach might be playing like here so he can rotate to B quicker. Reese might be playing back too, holding a less aggressive line of scrimmage, and like we can be poised to go B, getting ready for execute, just getting people into sunroom, you know, getting people ready with their nades, getting ready to like molly off checkers and start the slow execute. And like because of how successful our line of scrimmage was at the first few buy rounds, which is why I told you before, like, let's say there's 6 buy rounds, you want to take the aggressive peaks in the first like 3 to 4 rounds, or the team needs to, as a team, do like peak on A, peak on mid, and peak on B, basically. That's basically what I'm saying. And like, because we successfully held our line of scrimmage in our first 4 rounds, the CTs don't feel comfortable doing a very aggressive type of aggression. Like, they think that they might fail it, and because of that, we don't need to be as aggressive and as like putting our foot down to hold the line of scrimmage. So Josh is here, Reese is here. No. Zach is here. I'm sorry. Zach is holding door. Reese is dedicated to A. I'm playing around mid, and Josh is playing closer to B. Josh might be playing useless. Josh might be playing here. All right. I might be playing closer to under boost because I boosted Elijah, but this is how we hold. All right. Our A side door like guy is Zach. He's dedicated to this. Reese is dedicated A main, and Josh is dedicated here. So let's say we want to take an aggressive peek on T side, right? We're talking about our default right now. Sometimes you need to make this decision on your own. So no. What I mean is, sometimes when you want to peek, you don't have time to make your peak have a better chance of succeeding. Josh, if you're playing, like, let's say here, and you're holding this line of scrimmage, right? And let's say they smoke this off, or right, and you know that their economy's in shambles, and like, let's say you want to peek this, and let's say we got information that there is a shitload of CTs, either A or mid. So you know that if you peek this, it's a calculated risk. You should definitely 100%, like, if you decide that you can take this risk, which you need to take sometime in the first few buy rounds, or first, like, you just need to take these rounds on your T default. Take these risks on your T default, Josh. You might not have time to say, like, I want Filbert to rotate from mid, help me peek this, or I want Elijah to come here and like peek this after I jump across, and blah blah blah. Because right now you don't have time. You have to take the fucking risk. This is the best time to take the risk, so you gotta do it by yourself. Let's say we don't have many opportunities to do these like line of, like, let's say first few rounds we know the enemy has a good economy, right? And we're not sure when to take these risks to force a break in their line of scrimmage and to condition the enemy team that this is our line of scrimmage. If you fucking break it, you're gonna fucking die, right? So how we do that in rounds that they have better economy? We're definitely doing the line of scrimmage thing on sites that they smoke off. So if they smoke off A main, this is important information that Reese needs to communicate with the team. And like, they smoked off A main, and Reese, you need to make a call out. You need to make at least tell me this is smoked off, and like try to make a call out that we should peek A. Like, we should try to scrim A, right? You should say you call it scrim A. Let's scrim A means, all right, this is smoked off. You call let's scrim A, or I call let's scrim A, right? So Josh is playing more defensive in this situation, right? Zach is playing a little more aggressive towards door because if we get a kill on A, he might want to help A either by smoking off or running out or doing whatever. And Elijah might be on boost or maybe not on boost. And just basically me, Elijah, and Reese are going to be inside A main. We're going to peek and try to break the line of scrimmage on site and on mainly on site and see if we get a pick. If we get a pick, we can immediately execute and like go A, right? If we don't get a pick, we get a trade kill, we can still decide to either go or hold depending on other information on the map. Depending if Josh hears, if he's playing close useless, if he hears a shitload of people mid, that might mean that the A players are playing closer to mid, there's less people A, you know, stuff like that, right? And same thing with Josh. If you see a smoke that drops here, right? I need you to call let's scrim B. And what that means is Zach is holding, like, let's say Reese and Zach are still holding their line of scrimmages passively. And because you call the scrim B, me and Elijah will try to put us in a more successful scrim. So once this smoke is about to go out, you need to call, let's scrim this scrim B main, and like the smoke's gonna go out soon. Me and Elijah will rotate towards you. I'll probably be holding mid, or I'll be next to you, and like we can just work a peek, work some Molotovs into the checkers. If we get the kill, we can immediately execute. You know, Zach in this situation might be playing closer to mid, right? Or, yeah, like Zach might be closer to mid, or Reese might be closer to mid. Definitely Reese and Zach, if you're playing closer to mid, you're not holding a line of scrimmage, therefore you need to call this information. Hopefully this is not getting too complicated, and I am explaining it well. Like, Counter-Strike is a very simple game, but it can be very complicated because it's a fucking beautiful ass game. So, that's our T side default. And like when we take mid, right? Zach's job is to molly off vents here. He mollies this off with fire, and then he flashes around here. In this situation, we're gonna definitely have some person boosted, and like me or Reese is gonna smoke off Z right here, and we're gonna take control of mid, just off this Molotov, some flashbangs, and Zach, you're gonna stay here. You're going to stay holding door and stay holding this, right? And, like, sometimes Reese might be with you, with us mid, so you might be just by yourself. But, like, you're going to stay holding door from this position just in case we peek and we need a second flashbang. So you flash once. You want to stay here, Zach, and wait, like, 5 to 10 seconds. And we need to decide, like, we need to peek and see if we get a kill. If we don't get a kill, you flash again, and we try to get out. You need to tell us how many flashbangs you have so that we know how to play mid defaults where we take middle of round. In this situation, Josh, if we're taking mid, I want you to be in a situation where if they push B main, you get the kill. If you get the kill, we split vents, we go B. If we don't get if you just stay alive here, that's completely fine. We might translate a kill on mid into a take on A. You know, there's a lot of things we can do. And if we have a shitload of time, we might just create a new line of scrimmage where, let's say, we have 3 people mid, right? And let's say we have 2 people mid and we killed 1 person. Me and Elijah might just be sitting vents. I'm going to be sitting white box. You're sitting here, Josh. Reese is still in A main and Zach is still here. We might just be creating a new line of scrimmage and see if the CTs feel like they need to make a play. And if they decide to make a play, they might fuck up and like peek us. And if they peek us mid or peek us somewhere, we can get another kill. And then based on that kill, we can decide to execute. So that's our mid default. And then our executes after those defaults. So let's say we take mid control a bunch of times. They start figuring out how we take mid control. We've been taking it the same way multiple rounds. In that situation, we need to change how we play. So we have 2 side executes and 1 mid fast execute. So before, we've been taking mid slowly, right? So they might be set up better to take mid, or they might be playing under, and because of that, we lost mid control, or we didn't get the picks, and because we didn't get the picks, we were at a number disadvantage, and we couldn't go to a site, and we lost the round. So we might be doing something like mid execute or fast mid, and like what that would be Zach would be playing like Zach's playing to hold door. Josh is still playing useless or here or like near T side B main to hold the B scrim, and me, Elijah, and Reese, we might just have like Elijah smokes here Z immediately, I smoke this immediately, I throw like a Molotov, and we just immediately fucking run out. Zach might throw one flashbang for us, and we just fucking run out mid and see if we can take these fights and win these fights and win the round. Off of that, right? Translating those kills into a round win. And then our A execute is going to be Josh, you're holding this. Reese stays A main because he's an anchor, alright? Elijah, if you have an op, I think you should go A main. If you don't have an op, actually just go A main every time, and then I'll go door with Zach every time. But you guys definitely need to be you know what, sometimes we're gonna send 3 people A main. It's just 4 people A main side, and like Josh, you're definitely here, and we're gonna hold for smoke, and like we might do something cheeky, like if we're doing an A execute, a full A execute, right? We might throw hold on, I'm fucking getting way too much information at once. That's our A execute strat, where we do it immediately. We just kind of go here, immediately execute, try to take site, right? Our second strategy is a full B execute, and that's we have Reese and Zach holding this. Actually, we have probably Josh playing here. I mean Zach playing here. Reese are holding middle. Me, Elijah, and Josh are inside B, trying to get sunroom. We're gonna fight for sunroom, smoke it off, get sunroom control. We'll get Molotovs ready to go B. We'll get Zach to throw, like right before we execute, Zach, you're gonna throw a smoke for mid to let Reese get out of mid easier if he wants to, or just to lurk mid easier. Zach, you're gonna throw a smoke here for Reese, and then after like let's say 2-3 seconds after that smoke blooms, we're gonna execute for B, and we're gonna push in. Reese, depending on the situation, you need to decide. You need to be peak. First of all, Reese, you need to make sure that they can't go vents, or there's no one close mid. So I don't know how this is gonna be hard, but this is gonna be your job. Zach could be helping you. Like after he throws a smoke, Zach might be helping you, and then we basically go B with our execute from sunroom, hit checkers together. If you definitely cleared close and you definitely got close to vents, you might be pushing into checkers with us. Like you need to make a decision, like, do I need to do this, right? Like if we don't have enough people to do this, if something happened, me, Elijah, or Josh dies earlier, Reese, you're gonna need to go into here and like help us get this checkers control. You don't need to drop, you just need to like help us get this control, and then like hold the mid side either by dropping under vent or just sitting here. And then, you know, Zach, you might be helping Reese doing that, or you might be rotating through here. Like it's like very dependable. If you hear a shitload of people pushing A, Zach, you might be even just sitting here waiting for the push, you know? Okay, so that's our executes. And then we have default into where we don't take mid, like default where we definitely execute A or B. In that situation, this is what we're gonna do. Reese, you're gonna start out the round like normally. All right, we're gonna have Josh holding B, Reese holding A, Zach holding streaky. All right. I'm probably boosting Elijah on white box in this situation, and I'm gonna hold mid for a bit. Reese, your job or I might be coming with you A main, Reese. Yeah, I'll probably come with you A main, and this is gonna be after we default a bunch of times. So hopefully Elijah can hear if they're rushing mid or going to boost, counter boost, and hopefully they don't push through mid. In this situation, Reese, you're gonna go here. They're probably gonna have A main smoked off, and you're gonna go here, and you're gonna like throw a smoke, throw a Molotov, flash twice, and like just run out and start like behind, even maybe behind the smoke. You don't even need to like do it like for real. Like you don't even need to really peek sight. You just need to be here and fucking like spam. What you're gonna do is you're gonna first wave with like an execute on A, and the people on A generally they're gonna react by using their nades. And like the more nades they use, the better. So that's me and Reese's job are to stay inside A main, just fucking shoot. Like Reese might be here spamming fork, I might be spamming like fucking random spot on A, and like we just hope they use their shit. Right? This is a default into A execute. Once this thing happens, we did this at the beginning of the round. So once we wait a little more, let's say 1 minute 20 seconds, right? Or one minute mark. Elijah's been peeking mid. He's been kind of holding this line of scrimmage. Josh rotates towards useless and might go out mid. Depends on the situation. Elijah might come into A main, or I saved my smoke. I'm going to execute for real this time. We're going to go A, and because they have less utility on A, we have a higher chance of getting sight. So that's our A execute without a default. And that's our T side. I went over T side. Let me see how long this video has been. Okay, so we're going to talk about CT side, and because we went over so many things on T side, I have a lot. It's gonna be a lot quicker, and that's good. So CT side, we need to hold our line of scrimmage. If we're able to hold this line of scrimmage on the executes for the entire game, we might be doing this entire game. Okay. If we do this in a couple rounds and we feel there's opportunity somewhere, like we can flash push A main, we're gonna do that. And if not, it's whatever. We just might be changing our setup, right? So we might have Reese solo A, double mid. We might have off peak B main first, off peak A main first, off peak mid first. Like three different places where Elijah might be. Based on Elijah's positioning, Josh might be B, Josh might be A. Based on the enemy reaction too, right? Josh might be A or B. You know, there's a lot of things that you have to consider. It's all really just flexible CT setups that will hold your line of scrimmage. And like, if you hold the line of scrimmage on CT side, you're probably gonna win the round. Like, let's say Josh goes B, he boosts Zax into vents. I'm playing mid. Elijah was playing highway Elijah was playing Z at the beginning of the round, or highway at the beginning of the round, and then like we boost someone into vents, right? Because we boost someone to vents, Josh is playing like headshot. You know, like there's a lot of situations here it could be happening, and like we just hold our line of scrimmage. If we hold it, we basically win the round. And remember to peek. Like, this is super important. Like, if you're not peeking to hold your line of scrimmage, you're gonna lose, because if your line of scrimmage is so easy to break, like, you're just gonna lose the round. Like, there is no strategy to like how the CTs are gonna play if you can't hold your line of scrimmage either. Like, if you just lose your line of scrimmage on A, right, and like 5 Ts are alive, right, this just makes it harder. Like, the CTs gonna have to peek, play it slower, try to get more picks as they go into sight. You know, like, it's just a very bad situation. And like, if you can't hold your line of scrimmage on CT sides, right, you also can't push. Like, if you can't hold your line of scrimmage, why are you gonna push B main? Like, why are you gonna, like, the only thing you might be able to push is A main, and only to lockers. Because like, if you can't hold your line of scrimmage, are you gonna win this aim duel against them when you try to push A main? Are you gonna win this aim duel on B? If you can't win this aim duel, can't hold your line of scrimmage, you're just gonna lose the game. And like if they're all rushing A, right, it makes it so that the guys B have no chance of like taking his time and pushing B main. Like if on CT sides, something to consider is where you want to take your calculated risks. And like not everyone's going to be comfortable doing this, but let's say Josh, you're playing B, okay? Josh or Zach is playing B, and we know that all the players are mostly mid to A, and like we got the information is still fresh, and let's say there's 30 seconds left into the round, right? Zach can decide, let me stand here, bounce a Molotov off here, fire up this part, throw a flashbang, and clear close sun, and like that is 10 seconds where Josh 7 to 8 seconds where the Molotov's burning, where he's holding and like fighting for sunroom by himself, right? We knew that the terrorists are mostly around here. At most there's one person here. If he gets a kill, we have a higher chance of winning the round. Like he sees one person, Zach rotates off back to like defensive B, where he just tells us the information so that the B player in heaven can just rotate to mid. Or Zach got information with the Molotov that there's like 3 people there, and we can just we just better poised to win the round. Generally for CT sides, you need to take your either have a calculated risk mid round, maybe take an aggressive peek at the beginning of the round and fall back. And like towards the end of the round, when when you know the terrorists are gonna group up either on the A side of the map or B side of the map over here, you can take a calculated risk on the other side based on your teammates' information. So if we hear 2A main or a lot A main, down boost, Zach can push this. If the timer is like 30 seconds left, right? If Zach's saying a bunch of shit happening here, let's say Josh is playing forklift and Reese is on site. Reese, like you guys, I will try to call these situations, right? But like you need to be fucking proactive on CT sides and like say, Josh, I'm flashing you A main. Reese, you flash Josh A main. Fucking, we get control of this. Josh stays on side like lockers or something, or maybe even pushes because there's only 20 seconds left. I don't know. If Josh gets a kill, he falls back to fork. We're in a better chance to win the round. And like if Josh sees a bunch of people, if Reese has a Molotov, we win the round. If Josh like sits in lockers, Reese can rotate, stack mid, stack B, we win the round. Like stuff like that, right? Like it's very important that we hold our line of scrimmage and yeah. Okay, so hold your line of scrimmage, and for all the parts of the map that isn't on your side of the line of scrimmage, go for information mainly. And if you're committing for a peak, then try to make it a calculated risk. Thanks for watching the video, team. I think we have went over all the stuff, and let's fucking warm up, keep our aim hot, and like play the game intelligently based on like this video, and we're gonna fuck them up.